Hi, my name is Victor Bart, welcome to Retro Machines, and today we're gonna do a new build, and I know you've all been waiting for this. So in the last videos I already did the case mod and test out the motherboard, so in this video we're gonna build a computer out of it. I already damaged the front here, so I need to repaint it already. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. If you want your circuit board design realized and printed, you should check out PCBWay. Starting prices as low as $5 for a 1 or 2 layer design with worldwide shipping. Place your order now, links in the description. The motherboard is this Aopen DX2G Plus with Dual Slot2, 2 GB of memory support, a lot of PCI slots, SCSI on board, network on board. But for the full details, please watch the previous videos where I test out this motherboard. And for the CPUs, we're gonna use dual Pentium 3 Xeon with 2 MB of cache. And this is a set of 550 MHz CPUs, which will be installed first, because I need to do the BIOS update, and I found the BIOS update, so thank you for the one that provided me the files. So yeah, we're gonna first run it at 550 MHz, test out, install it, and later in another video I'm gonna install my dual Pentium 3 Xeon 700s, also with 2 MB of cache. The video card that I'm gonna use is this HP Matrox G400 Max with dual monitor support, 32 MB of memory, and this is just a really awesome card, and you can really game on it. It has full 3D support, runs Quake 3, all kinds of games perfectly fine. And of course we're gonna use 3DFX cards. These are Diamond Monster 3D 2s, 12 MB Voodoo2 chips, and of course I'm gonna run them in SLI for the maximum performance in 1024 by 786 resolution. And the sound card that I'm gonna use is an ISA sound card, the Sound Blaster AWE64 Gold with golden connections, cane port here. I really love this card and it really sounds amazing. Here we have the VGA Pass-Through cable for the Voodoo 2s, and we're gonna use a red SLI bridge. And I made this myself, and I have a tutorial on my channel how to make them. It's pretty easy to do. Let's talk storage. Of course we're gonna use a floppy drive. Every system from this era needs a floppy drive. But let's talk some more interesting hardware. This is an Omega zip drive. It's an IDE version, but this is the Omega zip drive 250. So it supports 250 MB zip disks. And I don't have this unit in SCSI, so I'm gonna use an IDE drive. And maybe I'm gonna install this Omega Ref drive, and this is 35 GB. So this is like the latest thing that Omega tried to a successor for the zip drive, but it failed because nobody used a Ref drive. And this is also IDE. So I'm probably gonna connect those two on one cable. And for the CD-ROM players, I have two options. I can use this SCSI Plexor set with a 32 speed Ultra Plex. I also have the 40 speed somewhere. And a Plex Writer 12432. Both 50 pin SCSI. But I think I don't gonna use them in this system, because I have another option. That is IDE, but it's also awesome, and that is a Pioneer slot-in DVD player with a Plex Writer IDE drive, and this is a 241040A. So this is much more modern than this drive, and I think this will be better for the build that I'm doing. And I don't gonna make this system period correct or a certain date or something that makes sense, because yeah, let me show you the storage options for the hard drives, and there it will go really crazy. First of all, I'm gonna use this hard drive cooler with two 5 cm fans that you bolt down under the hard drive and cools it down. And yeah, let's talk storage. I'm gonna use a SCSI drive. I've here 72 gigabyte 15,000 RPM drives. I have 2 of them. And here I have 146 gigabyte 10,000 RPM. And they are all 80 pin, so I need to have a converter like this to use them. I rather not use those converters, but I'm running out of high capacity 68 pin SCSI hard drives. But these are pretty standard, so let's see what I have here. I have here a 146 gigabyte 15,000 RPM SCSI hard drive. Yeah, I think the storage will be a little bit insane because we have one drive left. And this is the pinnacle of SCSI hard drives. This is a 300 gigabyte 15,000 RPM Ultra 320 SCSI drive with an 80 pin connector. Yeah, I think I'm gonna see if this drive still works, and I'm gonna put it in the system. And if it's not working, I will use one of the other drives from this stack. So yeah, the storage will be a little bit insane, but I like that. And this is just the best SCSI hard drive ever made in terms of specs. 300 gigabyte with 15,000 RPM. You don't see them a lot. And let's see, is there a production date on this one? Oh yeah, 20 January 2008. So that is not even that old. It's 14 years old now. And also we need to have this converter to 68 pin with the jumpers here and the power connector. So yeah, I'm gonna see if the 300 gigabyte works. Otherwise I will downgrade to 146 or something that's still working, because this stack of hard drives I didn't test yet. And I'm not sure where I got them from, but I found them in a box and I was thinking, let's use them for this system. Let's talk the power supply. I found this Chief Tech 360 watt with a lot of connections, so I think this will be a good power supply for this system. But to be honest, a system like this will run on a 250 watt power supply or a 300 watt, but 250 is more than enough. This is the case modded MIDI tower that I'm gonna use for this build, and I have 4 5¼ inch drive bays, but I can't use them all because the CPU package is pretty large. You will see that later in the video. 2 3½ inch floppy drive spots. I can put 2 3½ inch hard drives here, but the SCSI hard drives run too hot to stack them together. So I will run just one hard drive in this system. And I can put a hard drive here on the bottom. There are some spots for it if I need to have more storage, but probably not with 300 gigabyte 15,000 RPM. 12 centimeter fan in the back with LEDs, and 2 8 centimeter fans in the front also with RGB LEDs. But these are like 2003 RGB LEDs. I think this build will be a little bit weird with the parts all over the place, but a configuration like this is really what I like to have as my retro workstation to go to LAN parties and just have fun with and run games on. So this will be a gaming system, yeah, with dual CPUs. I don't care what you think that you need Windows 98 single CPU for gaming. No, I just gonna game on this with Windows 2000 and with dual CPUs, and it doesn't make any sense to use dual CPUs for gaming. At least Quake 3 has support for it, so that makes sense. So yeah, I'm gonna run dual CPUs for gaming, and I don't care what you think about that. Oh, and I forgot to tell you the amount of memory, and that is 1 gigabyte of memory, 2 sticks of 512 megabyte, PC100 with ECC, and those are dual stacked modules, so really server modules, and I found them in a Dell server. So it's not gaming memory, it's server memory. And on the motherboard there's a big backplate. So to fit the backplate of the motherboard I had to modify this motherboard tray, and I put some new support here. But the motherboard standoffs are not standard on this board. and really are crappy. And I put some extra protection stuff here to not short out the motherboard. So yeah, let's install it and do really careful to not cross-thread any motherboard stand-offs, because this is not the best motherboard tray there is. And we have our first issue. The motherboard stand up here doesn't line up with the hole, but there's not much under here that can short out, but I still gonna use some electrical tape under here so that nothing can happen. But the most important thing on this corner is that it gives support when you press in one of the connections. So this is fine if it doesn't line up. It's not like around the CPU that's really important. I really like these CPU coolers from Xeon. Here you can read the sticker for what it is. They are super low profile, aluminium fins here. I think this is around a 6 centimeter fan. Pretty silent. So let's install the first CPU. And there goes the second CPU in, and I really like the slot packages for CPUs because it's just so solid. You can really throw the stuff around without breaking anything. And on top of the CPUs we have these bars to hold them in place. So this is a super sturdy system where the CPUs never can fall out of the CPU slots. And we have two cables, one for the fan and one for the temperature sensor. And let's do a little bit of cable management already, so it looks better. And the metal rings around here, I just took a hammer and slammed them off because it wasn't too big risk of shorting out anything on the board. The motherboard and the CPUs and the memory just look so epic. It's so big and huge and over the top. I really like it. So let's put this to the side, because in the case we need to first put some drives, because the motherboard is blocking a lot of room in in this case. So the 300 GB SCSI drive is in, but the cooling here, it barely fits. It just fits above of here, and I had to remove the front screws, otherwise it couldn't slide in, and it's now really tight between this step here and this step under here, but the screws lined up. It's sturdy. The converter is in, which also is pretty sturdy with the extra protection here. So yeah, I think this will work. And otherwise I need to change things and not use a 15,000 RPM drive that gets really hot. So the next challenge is to fit this motherboard package into the case. It will be a tight fit, but it works, and I have one screw to put in here to hold it in place, and this step that I made myself because I moved this bar up. So in theory I can slide it in and it would fit. So let's see if that works. And if I already install the power supply, it gets already too tight. So yeah, that's a way too little case for the amount of hardware that I'm gonna put in. But I think it should work. I hope. Otherwise I don't have a case for this motherboard. So it must work. The CD player is in the way. How can I fit this in without removing the CD? Okay, this failed because the CD player is just in the way and I can't get the motherboard in. So let's remove the drive and then slide in the motherboard and reinstall the drive. Why don't I love big towers? That would be so much easier for this build. But no, I prefer midi towers. And also for LAN parties, this is way easier to carry around than a big tower. So let's try that again, if it now fits or not. Awesome, the motherboard is in now and it fits and it lines up here with the I/O shield, and this is my custom destroyed I/O shield because the top is missing, and I put some extra protection tape over it to keep it together, and it's better to have one than not have one. So yeah, let's see how full it is now here inside of the case. The CPU package is way too huge and there's barely any space left here for cable management. And also we need to reinstall this drive here, and then it gets even tighter because the cables from the top drives need to bend over here down here. Yeah, this really restricted airflow in the top of the case. That's why I put big fans in the case to get some airflow. Let's keep this one with one screw for now, because I think I need to remove it more than once to get it built. Because, oh yeah, here's the power connector of the motherboard, and I can't even put my hand in here. So yeah, I need to figure out how I'm gonna connect that. Otherwise I need to remove the motherboard again. So yeah, let's first do other things, and then later I will admit my mistake that I'm now making, probably. I really like building computers, and this is a nice challenge. So time to install the video card. And now it gets really tight in the system. Let's see how this lines up. The alignment is not really perfect, but with a little bit of just pushing it in, it will work. And now let's see if the Voodoo 2s will fit. Normally I always put them like in this slot here, but that doesn't work because this adapter will have a Molex here. Also, when I would remove this block here, the Molex will be still here, so that interferes with the Voodoo 2. So maybe one slot lower. That could work, but then the Molex is really on top of the PCB, but there are no components here. So it's really in between the memory modules. So to be honest, this could work, but how would that do with the airflow? Because here it's now really, you can't even put my finger in between. So there's airflow here. So probably here there's less airflow because it's just blocking everything. So maybe let's do something I would never do normally, is putting the Voodoo 2s even lower, because we don't have any other PCI cards that I gonna run in this system. Because the network card and SCSI is all on board, so I don't need to put extra in. So this could work, and I don't gonna install the Voodoo bridge yet, because I think I need to remove these cards a few times later. But it would look really cool with the red bridge. So let's put the sound card in. And I need to be careful because there's here and bolt of the standoffs. Would that interfere with any parts? Maybe I can better be safe than sorry and put some protection over it. Just to make sure I don't short out anything. Not the most pretty solution, but let's see if it fits. Okay, it barely fits, but it fits, so yeah, this case is getting really full. The power supply is the last big piece that goes in, the rest that will go in are cables. So let's see if it fits. Yeah, it looks like it's it can work. I really had to push it in here because the power connector is interfering with the side wall here. Okay, the power supply is in, but there's literally no room for cable management. Maybe I can stick most of the cables down here that I don't need. What a terrible ATX case this is with this amount of hardware. But it's not that heavy, so good for LAN parties. So the cables are in, and to be honest, it was not too hard, but still a bit of a challenge, and I didn't do it on camera because otherwise I spent like 45 minutes fiddling around with the cables, and then I need to edit it, and then it takes hours just for a little shot of putting in the cables. But the most important cable I didn't put in, and I will do that on camera, and that is the red Voodoo bridge. So let's put that in. So that's a nice accent. So time to try out if this machine will boot. And I use blue IDE and floppy cables. I found them in my bin and I was thinking, let's put all blue cables in. And the SCSI hard drive is not connected yet. So we will first test out the rest and then put the SCSI cable in and see if everything works. But let's first see if the machine boots and detects all the floppy drives and CD-ROM players, zip drives, stuff like that. It directly turns on, that's a good sign. The keyboard is flashing. The monitor's on. That was easy. CPU is detected, memory is detected, disk drive, auto, okay. Boot options, IDE, CD-ROM, floppy, hard drive, chassis secure switch activated. It's found in DVD, CD-ROM, CD-ROM, CD-ROM. This is the zip drive and this is the ref drive. But it has detected that the first drive is in DVD, that's good. Everything looks fine. So the next step is connecting the hard drive and see if that also works, and then installing Windows 2000. I found the perfect SCSI cable for this build. Okay, it's a little bit on the long side, but it's single-ended and with a terminator, and it's even an Ultra 320 cable. So let's get it in and see if the hard drive works in this system and then install Windows 2000. Okay, this build is a cable management nightmare, and I don't think I'm gonna try to do a good job on it. I just will slam it in, shut the case, and it looks epic enough without big cable management. So I will tuck away the cables, but I will not cable management this to perfection. No, it's just impossible. Nice, the hard drive is detected and it comes out of a compact server. SCSI BIOS successfully installed. Nice, let's get a disk with Windows 2000. The drives of the SCSI controller are built in the Windows 2000 installation. That makes my life so much easier. And there's only a utility partition on this hard drive and the rest is unpartitioned space. So let's delete that. And let's create a partition. It has 286 GB free. So let's make a 40 GB C partition and the rest will be in D partition. And I will make the other partition in Windows 2000. That's much quicker than in the installation. And NTFS. And it will probably take a while. So let's get back when Windows 2000 is installed. Windows 2000 is installed on this hard drive. But I ran in a few problems and I already reinstalled Windows 2000 2 times. And I found out that the slot-in DVD player is not in a good working shape. It gives some read errors in the install, but it still installs. Maybe it's a dirty lens of the laser. So I found another slot-in DVD that I gonna put in this system that works fine. So that's one problem that is solved now. The other problem is this fan thing for under the hard drive. And right now it's working fine and doesn't make too much noise, but this is completely worn out and this fan sometimes spins slower than this fan and I don't have any 5 cm fans left, so I need to order new fans. But I put WD-40 inside of the fan and now the noise level is lower and they spin decently. But this is a temporary fix. This will not last super long. But the plus side of this unit is that the 15,000 RPM 300 GB SCSI drives really is cooled and doesn't run hot in the system. So the 300 GB 15,000 RPM drive is pretty silent, runs super fast, doesn't run hot. So this is a perfect drive for in this system. It's a little bit overkill in terms of storage, but it is a stable drive. It's, yeah, the SCSI drive is a big success. And the other issue that I am having is with the Voodoo2 cards. With a single card it works. With 2 cards and different SLI bridges it doesn't work. I can't get it running. So yeah, I was even testing different cards and even a special card with only 12 MB memory on one side. This card will go to a friend of mine. He was looking for it, so I gonna sell it to him. But I tested, it works. Here's a set of Voodoo2 Helios cards and it doesn't run. And my set of diamond cards, it also doesn't run in SLI. This card runs as a single card, and this card, yeah, I put some crosses on it. I think it's broken. So yeah, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do with the graphics cards, or if I'm gonna swap out the graphic cards to something else that also have better driver support in Windows 2000, because the Voodoo2 in Windows 2000, I don't really like the drivers. It's really not the same experience as Windows 98. And Voodoo2 in Windows 98 has all the support. It's just perfect. But under Windows 2000 it's pretty difficult and I never get it running like I really want to have it. And most times I will just switch the game to the main HDP video card. That is most times also a bit faster than the Voodoo2 setup. So yeah, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do with the graphics cards. But I don't think I'm gonna do that in this video. But in this video I will just put back the hard drive and the cooling for now, and the CD-ROM player, and just get the system running in Windows 2000 and then end this video, and in the next video we're gonna solve the graphic card situation, and I'm maybe gonna just measure out if the Voodoo 5 will fit or not. It's a little bit tight there. And the other thing that I found out with the Omega ref drive, it's a unit from around 2008-2009. Yeah, it doesn't really fit the build. And also it was working in read only, and I couldn't get it formatted or the files deleted or anything. So I'm not sure if this is a driver issue or that the disk is locked because there's a backup on it from some kind of company. So I think I will just get rid of the ref drive because it's way too new for this system. Okay, the hard drive is also like 8 years newer than the system, but 15,000 RPM SCSI hard drive, 300 gig. Yeah, we keep that. So yeah, let's fix a little bit of the system and show you Windows 2000. Okay, everything is back in the machine, and as you can see, this machine is a cable nightmare. I found a Molex splitter with way too many cables, but with all the fans and different cables I needed to get a solution like this. So yeah, I don't gonna do the cable management in this system. So it's also easier to just upgrade parts in the process if I think, oh, I want to change something. Maybe I will keep this machine that I sometimes just change out hardware. If it fits. Because nothing fits in this case. Even this 5¼ inch bay that's now free is so short that almost nothing will fit in there with the big CPU package. But let's check in the cables. And then it looks a little bit nicer probably. Or not. Probably not. But I did my best. Let's try this out. And still with the Voodoo card that I will be selling, but let's first see if everything works and if also this gives 3D support on the Voodoo. Windows 2000 is running and all the hardware is installed. So no problems here. And one Voodoo card is now in. The AWE64 Gold is installed, that's built in Windows 2000, super easy. The SCSI controller, onboard network controllers automatically installed, disk drives. So we have now the compact and the Omega SIP 250 display adapters, the Matrox G400 dual head and also the Millennium G400 dual head Max. So 2 drivers because we have dual monitor support. Also we have USB. And here on the system devices we have a DEC 21152 PCI to PCI bridge. So this motherboard has a PCI bridge. And that's probably why I can have 6 PCI slots with SCSI and LAN on board, so that makes 8 PCI slots, and HCP, so that makes 9 devices. And probably because of the PCI to PCI bridge that could work. But I'm curious if maybe the Voodoo 2s are not compatible with the PCI to PCI bridge, so that the 2 Voodoo 2s are not on the same PCI bus, and maybe because of that they don't work together, but I'm not sure. It's just something I'm curious about. Oh, what we can do is go to view, and it's now devices by type, so it's sorted, but you can also devices by connection. So now we have the ACP multiprocessor PC, and when we open that, we have here the PCI bus and here the PCI bridge. So the SCSI controllers are on the PCI bridge, then the ISA bridge with all the COM ports and the sound card and the floppy controller. Then probably on the normal PCI bridge we have the USB and the HP and the IDE and the Voodoo2. So maybe I can see if I put two Voodoo2s in it, if they are both on the same PCI bridge. So let's try that out. Let's put in these two Helios cards, and they are exactly the same PCB design, so they should be compatible with each other. Let's connect the SLI bridge. And the power button sometimes doesn't work. Let's get a backup switch and see if that helps. Okay, the switch is not in a good shape, so I also need to fix that. Okay, let's go to properties, settings, advanced, 3DFX Voodoo 2000 and a system info. Scanline interface detected, 60 MB texture memory, 8 MB frame buffer, so both are 12 MB cards. So that is correct. Now go to the hardware settings, device manager, 2 Voodoo cards, and then device by connection. Let's see. Okay. The PCI to PCI bridge now has both Voodoo2 cards. Okay, that's interesting, because last time the Voodoo card was on the normal PCI bus, so it automatically assigns it to something. But at least they are on the same PCI bridge. But here I have Need for Speed. Let's go to the 3D settings, and it's on Clyde device and the resolution, but you can set the resolution in game. Let's start game and see if it works. Okay, this is the first time that the Voodoo2 cards are working in SLI. So maybe I will keep the Voodoo cards if this is successful. And also the fan noise is more tolerable now with the WD-40. So maybe this build will be successful like this. Okay, we can set 1024, so that would be the Voodoo cards in SLI. This is way too slow. Let's find a fun car. Let's go for 911 Turbo Coupe. And I really love Need for Speed 5. It's just the best Need for Speed in my opinion. And it looks fine, the resolution. So yeah, I think I have some Voodoo cards that have just problems or something. Oh no, I missed it. Let's quit the game because I failed. But the Voodoo cards are working. So let's try another game that uses not Clyde but OpenGL. And that is Quake 2. It's now on default OpenGL, so it's running on the Matrox G400. 3DFX OpenGL 2024. Let's see if this works. It looks like this is on the Voodoo card, but let's disconnect the Voodoo bridge. And this is running also on the Voodoo2 in OpenGL, so yeah, this is working. So let's see which drivers are now installed, because that is practical information, because I have probably a mix of two drivers. Properties, driver details. Okay, this is a 3DFX driver made in 2010. So this is not the original driver. I will show you what I'm using. And I also used the original drivers, otherwise I didn't have the menu here in the video settings. So I had to install the original drivers to get this menu, and for the system info, stuff like that. So that is the Voodoo2 Win2K10200 driver, just the latest of 3DFX. And I installed the cool smoky Voodoo2 Glide drivers, and the system is now running the cards on the cool smoky drivers. And you can also find them online. And they are from February 2010. Voodoo2 base 3DFX accelerator driver kit for Windows 2000 XP and Vista 32-bit. So yeah, you can try both drivers out, and as you can see, they work. So here we have it, my dual Pentium 3 Xeon gaming workstation with Voodoo2 AWE64 zipdrive, SCSI hard drive, all kinds of awesome hardware, and a Matrox G400 Max. And the machine is stable, and all the problems were just extra hardware or cables or things like that. And I still need to fix the power button. I now put on the reset button for now, and I need to tighten up the front and fill around a little bit with the system. But the base system, the motherboard, CPUs, the memory is super stable, and Windows 2000 doesn't give any errors, and now the Voodoo2 is also working. The Matrox G400 Max is a really good card with gaming support and bump mapping and all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, I really like this build and how it turned out. It was a little bit hard to fit it in this case, but with the case mods and the big window in the side, I think this will be a perfect LAN party machine. Only I decided to not go to the brain drain LAN party this year in Sweden because of the current situation in the world. Yeah, I don't think it's a good plan to sit in one room with 25-30 people for one weekend. It's just a too big risk. So I have now the system and a year to get it super awesome and up and running and all the games installed. And yeah, I like this machine. So in one of the next videos we probably gonna see if we can upgrade the CPUs and the BIOS, but maybe I will keep it 50 for a while, because that's also pretty nice with the hardware around it. I think we have a successful build. And if you like to support me, you can support me monthly on Patreon and get access to my awesome Discord server, or you can use my Amazon affiliated links. And thanks for watching.